In 7-2, we're going to be working with fractions of sets. And the objective of this lesson is to provide practice finding fractional parts of sets. So our math message for today is take 20 pennies and show half of 20. So let's go ahead and look at this. Sorry about that. Let me grab a hold here. So we have you're going to come up with 20 pennies here. And I'm sorry it's not working right now. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But I'm going to show you another quick way to do it. Instead of cutting the pennies in half, because we know half of 20 is 10, there's another way that you can look at this. If the denominator, is compared to the 20 total, we can tell that in order to reach 20, we have to take 2 times 10. You need to remember when looking at equivalent fractions that whatever we do to the bottom number to get the number over to the right, we must also do to the top number. So right away I'm going to write the times 10 there too, because again, whatever I do to the denominator, I must do the same exact thing to the numerator. Where I took 2, because that's the number it gave me, times 10 to get the 20, this time I'm going to take the numerator, or the 1, times 10 to get the 10. So what is half of 20 but 10? So if there were 24 pennies on a desk and you had to count out 2/3 of them, the whole is the 24 pennies, or 24 cents. It's not just 1 penny. It's really important that you identify the whole in any problem involving fractions. Alright, so we need to divide these 24 pennies into 3 equal groups, or 3 fair shares. So we separate the groups from one another with straws or pencils, and you can see here that that was done for you. Here's where they separated one group, and here's where they separated the other group, and you can see that there are exactly the same amount of pennies in each group. This is one group, 2, and 3. So far we know that 24 divided by 3 groups is going to equal a number. So how much is the whole? Again, the whole is 24 pennies, or 24 cents. The pennies in each group represent what fraction of all the pennies? They equal 1/3. This is 1/3. This is 1/3. And this is 1/3. How many pennies are in each group? Well, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there are 8 pennies. So how much is 2/3 of 24 pennies? Well, I would have to come over and I would have to add 1/3 of the groups to another third of the groups to get 2/3, which would be the total of these two added together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equals 16 pennies. So 2/3 of the group is 16 pennies, or 16 cents. So one way to find 2/3 of 24 is to first find out 1/3 of 24, which we knew was, I'm so sorry I'm moving this around, which we found out was 8. So if 1/3 of 24 is 8, 2/3 of 24 must be twice as much, which is 16. So again, 1/3 of 24, 8, 2/3 is 16. So let me show you again the method I showed you on the other page. 1/3 1/3 of your whole, which is 24. You can also figure out by going, how does 3 become 24? Times 8. Whatever I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. So I also must times this by 8. So 1 times 8 is 8. And that is exactly what we found out. Each group has exactly 8 pennies or 8 cents in them. So how much is 1/4 of 32? Again, one quick way to do this is to, instead of drawing it out and maybe taking a little longer time, we could just look at how does 4 become 32? Well, we know it's times 4. Whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the numerator. So 1 times 4 is 4. Let's check our answer and let's see if we're right. We're correct. Let's do yet another one together. What is 2/4 of 32? Well, 4, and sorry, once again, it didn't click on my pen. 4 times what is 32? Times 8. So I must do the same thing to the numerator. What is 8 times 2? Well, it's 16. So 2/4 of 32 should equal 16, and it does. Go ahead and try these next ones on your own on a sheet of paper, and then remove the answer by just pulling the box and putting it back over top of the answer, and see if you can find out what that answer is. Solving fraction of problems. You're going to go now to Math Journal, page 189 and 190. Remember to use counters to model the fraction of problems on the journal pages, or I want you to go ahead and do the method that I showed you, and I'm going to do it for you one here on the paper now. So this is page 189. So notice you're first going to be filling in what is the whole. And here it's showing you it's 16 nickels, because that's how many nickels are over on the page if we count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It says to circle 3/4 of them. Now, you could draw circles around them and break them into 4 groups, because that's what you do with the denominator, but we'll only count those 3. Or you could write it as 3/4 of 16. Remember, the denominator goes with the 16. How did it become 16? We already said times 4. Whatever I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. So 3 times 4 is going to be 12. So I would circle 12. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I believe this will be 12. So how much is 12 nickels? Well, we could find that out easily by counting up by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 cents. Notice my decimal point is right here, so the 60 goes after the decimal point. If I would have had $1.60, I would have written in front of the decimal. Now you must fill in the boxes that say what are the whole, and of course this would, next one 2 would be dimes and 3 would be quarters. You can circle 5, 6 of the dimes by first separating them into groups, into 6 even groups, or you can use the method that I showed you at the top of the page. One other method they're going to expect you to be able to do is they're going to be expecting you to be able to use a calculator to figure out fraction problems. What you do for that is you can think of a fraction as, let's look at number 1, 3 divided by 4. So the fraction 3/4 is like thinking of and punching into the calculator 3 divided by 4 and then equals. So go ahead, use your arrows on the next page, figure out how the denominator becomes 12, and then do the same to your numerator, and that's going to be your answer. And then check it with your calculator to make sure that you did it correctly. For your study length, go ahead, once you've corrected your math journal pages, go ahead and do your fraction of problem study length. It's showing you, first of all, that you have to find your whole. So in doing that, it always will give you the number for the whole. How many cookies did she give to her sister? Make sure you're reading accurately. 1/6 of the 24 is going to the sister. And then it asks, how many did she give to her mother? Well, it's telling you right here, 3/6 to her mother. And again, of that whole, which was the 24 to begin with. Go ahead and complete the page. Please do the practice on the bottom to practice your skills of dividing.